Alright, so my thoughts on the movie is like the fact that can I say I don't know every single one?
Yeah.
So in the first one he had hair, but in the second, where did his hair go?
True.
You're talking about
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. That was what I was thinking when I saw Sonic. That's Sonic 2. He should have had.
That was the issue with Sonic 2. Like that,
they should have explained that better.
Yeah, like how?
Yeah.
Just how did he? How did he?
I think
turn
they
into
explained it in the
Eggman?
post-credit scene, but I agree.
Well, yeah. Well, you shouldn't have to watch the post-credit scene to get
Exactly. You shouldn't have to watch the post-credit scene to understand that.
In my second, how? Why? I can't even speak because that's so.
What happened?
So why, like?
Think about it.
Why did Knuckles come after Sonic for doing nothing?
Because
Like,
Eggman lied to
that-
him.
Yeah. He like Eggman like tricked him, right?
Yeah,
Except
Knuckles isn't
he
smart.
didn't. Well, you got a point.
Yeah, Knuckles is not smart, but Knuckles should have further investigated for sure.
Yeah, Knuckles
That's
needed to get both sides of the
like he-
story.
He only believed him just because of the quill.
What would you give the movie on a rating 1 through 10 though?
Maybe a 7.
Like of all the movies together, you give it a 7?
The first one is a 5. The second one is a 7, and the third one, 10 out of 10.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
You heard it here first, folks. Heard it here first.
That was a great movie review. Now go hurry up, get that off.
Yeah. That was our review of Sonic. Now we gotta talk about a artistically less valuable movie, Lost in Translation.
Oh boy.
Kai, shut up. Okay, we gotta wait. Kai, yeah, close the door, please. No, don't turn the light back on.
We're keeping all that in.
We're keeping all of that in.
Yeah.
That's the opening, dude.
That's
Okay.
the cold open.
Those are cold
Throw out
open.
whatever I had written. This is episode 22 of I Finally Saw, where today I finally saw Lost in Translation.
That cold open was lost in translation.
No, I think Lost in Translation is a movie. Well, hey everybody, and welcome. I am joined today by Dayton,
Hello.
by Marquise,
What's up?
and of course, by Andromeda.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about Lost in Translation, 2006. It's turning 20 years old, directed by Sofia Coppola. So we're touching on this movie because it's turning 20 years old, and it's just one of those movies that I remember hearing come up a lot in a variety of different discussions, of course directed by Sofia Coppola. And with this anniversary coming up, I felt like it was an appropriate time to talk about it. Or no, it's not. It's sorry, I'm completely off base here. This movie was not 2006.
Yeah, that's what-
This movie was 2003. She's
Yeah.
23 years old, twice the age of Miss Johansson's character in the movie. But anyways, without any further ado,
Well, no, not the character.
no. Sorry, the character would be twice as old now. The character would be twice as old now. The movie is as old now as Scarlett Johansson's character is in the movie. That's what I was trying to say. Anyways, without any further ado, here's the obligatory paragraph that I have copy and pasted because I am not inventive enough to write something myself. But before I get to that, if you like what we do here, if you want to see more of it, comment down below, clown on us for our takes, or I don't know, validate, create an echo chamber for us. We haven't done that yet, so if we could get that going, that'd be really fun. If we could get the echo chamber part of the fan
Yeah, I don't
base
want to be
going.
called a loser anymore.
Or if you want to be like the contrarian. If we could expedite this whole thing actually and immediately get people in the comments saying that we've sold out before we even get our first like sponsorship or anything, that would be really fun. And subscribe so you get more of all this nonsense.
Yeah. If we can get to 2 likes, Marquise will step on a rusty nail.
For relaxing times, make it Centauri time.
A lonely, aging movie star named Bob Harris, portrayed by Bill Murray, and a conflicting newlywed Charlotte, portrayed by Scarlett Johansson, meet in Tokyo. Bob is there to film a Japanese whiskey commercial, and Charlotte is accompanying her celebrity photographer husband. Strangers in a foreign land, the two find escape, distraction, and understanding amidst the bright Tokyo lights after a chance meeting in the quiet lull of a hotel bar, and form a bond that is as unlikely as it is heartfelt and meaningful.
時間がないんだよ。ね、パッションがカメラテンション上げて。With intensity.
Is that everything? I mean, it seemed like he said more than that.
I think the first time I ever heard of this movie, it was either like a nostalgia critic video, or it was like some other one where they made an offhanded joke about Bill Murray being in Lost in Translation. That's it. That's all I knew about it.
Okay.
And from that point on, I the only thing I possibly heard about it later was like Scarlett Johansson was in it. I knew nothing about this movie going in.
I mean, similar to Dayton, I didn't really know anything about it. I just know that it's referenced a lot by, like, film bros or just people in, like, the film space in general. Like, when we were all in our script writing class, like, one really standout script was Lost in Translation. Specifically for the opening shot of ScarJo in pink underwear, and how, like, important it is to write things that are, like, things that you want to be seen on screen. You have to write in the script, so you have to be, like, very specific about what it is that you want your audience to see. Other than that, I don't really think I know anything about this movie.
Well, I had never heard this movie before. I don't remember this lecture that John was talking about, but I guess I have heard of it before. But going into this movie, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, I turned it on. I was like, oh yeah, Bill Murray's in this. Okay, cool. And I was like, wait a minute, is that Scarlett Johansson? Yeah, and then I was like,
Yeah,
oh my god,
light bulb went off.
and then I was like, oh my god, it's Frank Jr.
You said the exact same thing when we were watching the SpongeBob movie, Marquise.
I said, wow, that's Frank Jr. No,
Scarlett Johansson.
No, but Frank Jr. It plays Scarlett Johansson's character's husband.
Who is Frank Jr.?
His name isn't actually Frank Jr. It's like Giovanni or something.
It's like
but like
Giovanni.
he plays. Yeah, he plays
something.
Frank Jr. in Friends.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Shameless.
Also in all of the Avatar movies.
Yeah, and he also stars in a show called Sneaky Pete, which the first season was pretty good.
Oh, is that the guy from Toy Story 2?
Is he from Toy Story?
Yeah, he plays
Sneaky Pete.
That's the
Stinky Pete.
That's kind of rude to call somebody.
All right, well, you're gonna have to write all that down because I'm not gonna remember any of it. But here we go. I had heard this movie come up in conversation a number of times. I actually don't remember this movie coming up at all in film school, but I'm sure it did. It had a 76-page screenplay, and the success it goes on to endure. I'm sure a lot of people love to use it as a notable example. I knew Bill Murray was in it. I knew he was... I believe this is the role he probably got the... I mean, if Ghostbusters is the role that he got the most amount of pop culture influence, this is probably the role he got the most amount of Academy and, like... I don't know what the word would be, industry recognition for it. I think he was even up for the Academy Award for this role, and although he didn't win... That's sort of interesting. But yeah, directed by Sofia Coppola. Most recently, I think, got a lot of buzz for doing Priscilla.
Mr. Bob Hollis! Yo, get now, Bob.
You're a movie star.
Yes, I should be doing, yeah.
You know Rat Pack? Rat Pack? A ring-a-ding-ding.
For starters, right, I knew nothing about this movie. But, you know, it being, you know, starring Bill Murray, I automatically assumed Scarlett Johansson was gonna be his like, I guess, love interest, right? And, you know, I would like to say that this movie is, like, very, like, it's very grounded, except for, like, the way in, like, absolutely what fucking universe, sorry, bleep that out, would Scarlett Johansson, mind you, a 17-year-old Scarlett Johansson. She is 17 during the filming of this movie, right? Her character is like what, like 22, I guess. But she's 17 years old in the filming of this movie. would ever want to do with a 50-year-old Bill Murray, right? You've already lost me at that point. You've already lost me, right? Then like they're both married, and like the whole movie tries to paint as like Bill Murray's wife or Bob's wife as like this just like she just seems like very just uninterested in Bob, but it's also just like he's in Japan flirting with other women. No, but it's just like yeah, like I feel like the movie tries to paint her out to be like this like bad wife, but I would argue he's also at the same time a bad husband.
I disagree. I don't think the movie's trying to paint her to be a bad wife.
Okay, I'm not necessarily say a bad wife, but it makes you try to feel like, oh, why he would like be pushed towards ScarJo, and I just don't think it's true, because even if she is like just like kind of uninterested, or just like there's a very general sense of uninterestedness with like him and his time in Japan. So it's just like, get back home to your family, bro. Because like at a certain point, doesn't he just like start purposely getting more jobs so he can stay and like what's it called? Like just spend more time with Scarlett, and it's just like, ugh.
Well, yeah. So
I don't.
Bill Murray is a washed-up movie star, who is doing a series of ads in Japan. He's going over there, and feels completely socially isolated because he doesn't know the culture, doesn't know anybody. And Scarlett Johansson's married to this guy who takes a lot of pictures of famous people, and they kind of meet perchance in the hotel. They're sort of some of the only people. They're in their immediate day-to-day life, it seems like they're the only two people around that they can actually have a conversation with, just mainly because of the language barrier. And they form a connection.
I just think the movie was really boring, to be honest, and I am very confused why people like it to begin with. It's like it just had a lot of Academy recognition, and it's like, oh, it won Best Screenplay, and I'm like, okay, I don't really understand. I don't understand how this movie is like an average of like almost 4 stars, 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, when it's inherently just something I don't find interesting. Like, I don't really like that they're centered in Japan and kind of use that as a backdrop. I don't like that ScarJo is 17. I don't like that there's like they're kind of both just in this hotel, and they're written in a way like they're supposed to have some kind of connection, but I never feel any sense of connection to them the entire movie. Like, I don't understand why we're supposed to feel the same way that you do. Especially because, like, they're in Japan, and like you said, Austin, like, there's a language barrier, they're, like, jet-lagged, but they're never, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, it's like they're not actually connecting in any meaningful way, you know?
I don't know, I just, as a testament to the boringness of it, right? Austin, you said this screenplay was 74 pages.
I believe it was 76. I could be wrong.
Okay, 76 pages. Now, he may be wrong, right? But for those of you who don't know, movies are generally about a minute per page. There were 76 pages, right? This movie is an hour and 40 minutes.
Well, like 10 to 12 of those minutes are credits, to be honest. So it's really like an hour and 20. And for a very montage-focused movie to be an hour and 20 is not the most egregious thing in the world, because when you're writing montage on the page, you kind of throw out the whole page per minute thing.
Let's say I'm wrong. Nothing happens. I genuinely like I felt like nothing happened in that movie, right? Like he does these commercials. He doesn't like it, and yet we keep getting example of these commercials that he's doing that he just doesn't enjoy. It's like, okay, I get it. Like if he doesn't want to be in Japan, why is he here and not with his family? I'm lost.
In translation.
Thank you.
I mean, he
and
says why.
Like, does he?
Yeah.
I must have fell asleep. Why is he in Japan?
Oh, I guess you got to watch the movie again. Dayton.
Oh, okay.
Before finding out, I'm going to give my thoughts on the movie before I found out Scarlett Johansson was 17. I kind of liked it. I get that it's boring to some people, but I kind of related to these characters, and not in a way of like wife husband stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I've been to other countries where it's like you have like a weird sense of like, even though you can enjoy you can experience the culture and like you can definitely enjoy it. I like been to China. I've been to Russia. Like it's very beautiful there, but it's also very much like you feel like you're in an island, like with people. So people are surrounding you, but you can't communicate with any of them. It captured a feeling that I didn't really think about, but yeah, whenever I'm in another country, I usually feel very much like separated, like lonely, even if I am surrounded by just like crowds of people. I thought the movie was pretty. It's mostly the cinematography was carrying it. What the characters were saying, I was kind of in and out. I thought that the scene with Bill Murray doing one of the ads, I thought the first one where it's just the translator not giving him the whole explanation of what the director's trying to tell him, I thought that was kind of funny. I can definitely see how this is a boring movie, but I just thought it captured. It did speak to me for something. But after I found out Scarlett Johansson 17, why is she kissing Bill Murray on the mouth? I'll get into my thoughts more, but
just do it like full second. What else are we going to say about this movie? And listen, I'm dogging this movie.
Let me look at my notes.
And like, I'm not an idiot, right?
Well,
right. Bill Murray. Okay, no. Bill
No
Murray
one
goes
said
to Japan.
otherwise,
No, because Austin tried to make it like, oh, I wouldn't watch the movie, right? It's like there's obviously some nuance here, right? Bill Murray obviously feels detached from his wife, right? And then like that might be like one of the reasons why he came to Japan in the first place. That's one of the reasons why he's like so hesitant to go back to his family, right? But it's like, dog, like it regardless of how you feel for your wife, you still have your kids, and like you left your kids, you forgot your son's birthday. And it's like, so I'm already like starting off with no sympathy for this person to begin with, right? And it's like the job is paying $2 million. Okay, cool. Like you're making money. Hopefully you use that $2 million to support your family. But it's also just like you choose to continue to stay there when you could very well go back home and face your problems with your wife. If you want to get a divorce and go through that whole process, do that, but don't just avoid your wife. And again, there is nuance here, but like the movie I don't think it does a good enough job of making me like sympathetic towards either of these characters, truly. If I'm being completely honest, it just seems like Bill Murray is like avoiding his problems in Japan, and even though he's avoiding his problems, he's still miserable. And it's just like the only point of solace he's seeing is in this underage girl.
She's not underage in this case.
I mean, the character.
We gotta specify. She's about like 20.
22.
She's like in her early 20s.
Okay, I know. I can't get over it. Okay, but like this younger girl. This girl, how old is Bill Murray supposed to be in this movie?
He's probably like early 50s.
That's what I'm saying. Old enough or young enough to be your daughter, and you're trying, and also not to mention the fact both of you are married, and like you're trying to find some type of solace in her that turns romantic, whether like you want to or not. Like whether you want. You don't think the relationship is romantic at all?
I'm not going to say at all, but I think to call it a romantic relationship is a very pinhole view at what's going on.
Like, yes, like obviously their relationship was not intentionally romantic from the get-go. I'm not going to say that, right? But anything past their like original meeting in the bar is suspect at the very least. And this movie just rubs me the wrong way, if I'm being completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's just very slow pace, slow burn. Not a whole lot really happens, and you know, and I wish that was like just made up for in like the performance. If we're having these like long spread out scenes, if I had like a little bit more performance from like, it's like there's that whole scene where like he's carrying her after like she falls asleep in the taxi or whatever. Like she watches him asleep in the taxi, and then the next scene he carries her asleep from the taxi to her hotel room, and we track with him all the way down that hallway. But like there's no like nuanced, I guess, direction. There's no nuanced, you know, emotion.
What do you mean by
anything,
Yes, there is.
I disagree. There was a lot of emotion. Going on.
I think there is nuance there. He wants to stay.
So much emotion going on.
That's him.
No, I'm not saying when he's in the bed, but like we follow him.
Yes, the hallway. Yes, the hallway.
There's so much emotion there.
I don't think there was enough. What I'm saying is, I don't think there's enough emotion to track him walking all the way down.
I disagree.
And like from when he gets out of the elevator all the way down to when he gets to the door, we did not need that.
No, I disagree.
And that's one of the issues.
Yeah, where are you coming from exactly, Austin?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think,
like,
there's a lot to unpack with the fact that, like, obviously ScarJo is underage at the time this was filming, was not an adult until it came out, and I think there's no going back from that. I think I wasn't aware of that fact, and I'm not going to sit here and sound like a Twitter anime fan and be like, well, actually the character is 22 years old. But to me, there's a lot of intentionality in the way everything is playing out between these two characters. And I think Marquise is like, oh, like he misses his kids, like he's avoiding his problems, but he's still miserable. And it's like, I don't know, to me, yeah, that's the point. You know, he's irrational. He's caught up in this new exciting thing that I don't think is purely immediate. Like, I don't think it's a sexual, physical thing for him at all. And I think Coppola has kind of spoken to that as well, where it's just, there's this connection that is happening, and there's obviously this power imbalance because he's a 52-year-old guy and she's this girl who's fresh out of college. And it is about, to me, it is about this ridiculous fantasy, this shiny new toy that both of them have encountered of, here is this person who is from a completely different lifetime, and this false belief that, like, maybe I can stay in this magic bubble and hide away from everything, and the realization that, like, and to me, it's all about, to me, like, oh, I don't understand what situation, Marquise is like, I don't understand what situation that would ever happen. And I think the situation that they're in makes a lot of sense. They have nobody. There's nobody else.
Yeah,
that to me is like, that's the point.
Their
that's
spouses
the point
aren't interested in them.
they're on the Ritz with their spouses. Like, Bill Murray is like not a great husband. He obviously very deeply cares about his kids, but he's like, he says, I'm like, here, away from forgetting my kid's birthday party, trying to take a break from my marriage, making $1 million shooting these commercials I don't care about when I could be doing a play somewhere. He's not happy. And then he finds this one thing. He's staying there because he doesn't want to confront his problems, because because as old as he is, he's not mature. And she sees somebody who's done all these crazy things and is like, and thinks he's mature, and then like, but he's not, and I don't know. The fact that they're not upstanding people is, to me, what makes this interesting. Like if they were moral, upstanding people, this story wouldn't happen, and it wouldn't be interesting. And the fact that they're like,
that would be Rental Family. That would be just watch Rental Family. That's what that.
Yeah,
if you want a moral, upstanding version of this.
Sure, and it's, I mean, Coppola has a quote where it's this having this connection that isn't sexual or physical, that you have crushes on these people where it isn't that kind of thing, that you can have a connection where you can't be together for obvious reasons because you're at different points in life. But to me, that is sort of the point, is this ridiculous fantasy and this connection that would never happen anywhere else. It would never happen if these people met in New York City, where they're surrounded by it is like hotels are these weird liminal spaces where you see the same people every day, but they come from these crazy backgrounds. And it's like, yeah, it has to be on the other side of the world. I mean, to me, I will say, the thing I take issue with is I feel like a lot of the depiction of Japan is definitely strange. I'm not an expert on Japan, but I would be seriously surprised if anyone's ever been chased out of a Japanese bar with a BB gun. The handing ham over fist of the business cards, to me, doesn't. I'm not Japanese. I'm not an expert on Japanese culture, but to me that doesn't feel very Japanese. And there's a lot of that.
I was thinking of that a lot during this movie.
But is it a romance? Kind of. It is. They never call it anything, and to me, it is a connection between two strangers that would never happen anywhere else, and that are using each other briefly in a sort of childlike escape. Recognize that it's not going to work out, and recognize that they have to get back and they have to face their problems. But this brief interaction has given them, almost like a drug, unfortunately, this rekindling of this was nice, but we need to get back to reality.
I don't know, and I get what you're saying, right? I just don't like it. I genuinely do not like the concept of it. I don't understand why. I get what you're saying, that there's the difference of maturity levels, and that and the assumed maturity levels. So I get why there has to be the concept of the age gap. I just don't like it. It's just weird to me, and I can't get.
I think it's supposed to be weird, though. I don't think it's supposed to be I don't think the movie's trying to say that this is a healthy connection that should continue. It's just an observation of these two people that are lost, having a connection, and then terminating that connection when it comes time to face reality, because obviously they're not going to get together. And they dance with it just enough, and they trying to dance enough with having fun and having these conversations that to me, I was almost terrified. I was actually terrified of that scene. That to me is the emotion in that scene when he's carrying her. It's oh God, is he going to try something? And he doesn't. And that's not necessarily an upstanding thing. That's the bare minimum, obviously, that he doesn't attempt anything. But it's that's to me is the drama is just is how emotionally stunted is he? How depraved is he? How horrible of a husband is he? And it's he's just this guy who's miserable, is completely disconnected from his marriage, and is trying to do better. And I think his wife, I don't think his wife is a bad person, but it's clear that she's just disconnected and it isn't, and is probably done with him. But it's they're staying together because of the kids, and I think it's he's that's the point. He's escaping from his problems. I think this is a very escape from reality. They both have this connection. They're both in these horrible marriages, and then there's this sort of wake up call of just of that age gap, and then they come apart because it's a fantasy. It was a hotel thing, and obviously it was never going to be a real thing, and you have to wake up, and you have to go home, and you have to face your problems.
I don't know. I guess all my issues down the line from this movie, just my general lack of sympathy for either of the characters. And I get that. Them. I don't necessarily. I'm not gonna make any statements about. I have to be very careful about how I feel about these characters, because I think I'm not about to say I don't care if anyone ever cheats on their spouse. Obviously that's messed up.
I think in this sort of fictional scenario, they do enough of showing how detached and miserable and desperate for connection these two characters are, that not necessarily, I don't think it was the right thing. I don't think it was good for either of them, but that I can believe that they sought each other out, because it's just like, what the heck else are they gonna, there's nobody, and we are social creatures. Again, like that, you bring up a good point, was just like, in what world would those two ever form, like romantic or otherwise, any kind of bond? And I think you're right on the money to that degree, which is just like, yeah, only in this scenario when there's literally like for all intents and purposes, the hotel is essentially empty, and they are the only two people there, as far as they're concerned.
I just think if it was just more like, I just can't relate to the characters, I think, and maybe that's like a me thing, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Like, I think some people, it's like, if I was in that scenario, like, even if I was like an annoying, horrible husband, if my wife did that to me, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, you were bored, you know. But I think I believe in them. Yeah, I believe in them enough as people that I can understand why they did that, even if I'm like, don't do that. I don't think this movie works if they don't have, I don't know, this might be a crazy thing to say, I don't think this movie works if they're not cheating, low-key. Like, if they are two single people, and you, like, if the only thing that changes is that they're not single, like, even if you, like, let's just say Bill Murray's divorced, for example, and he still has kids, so there's still that element, and she is like never married or something, right? I don't think it works. I think it being this like kind of immoral fantasy, but like weirdly genuine to them, to those characters, and it being their escape from reality is what it, like, I think it has to be that for the story to work.
It's to, if they aren't cheating, it makes it to where there's no reason for them to never get together in the end.
I mean, outside from the age gap,
outside the age gap. Yeah. But I think that it's just the idea that, like, they have to go back to their worlds. They have to go back to their worlds, and they're yeah. You pretty much stated everything I thought about their relationship in the movie, even though there's that weird, there is like a part of it being like they're cheaters. They're kind of trying to cheat on their spouses. I mean, but it's like,
I mean, Bill Murray does, like, even if we don't,
like, one of them does.
Even if we don't think of what happens between Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray's characters as cheating, I mean, there's probably an argument to be made about emotional cheating.
Bill Murray does
really happens. Bill Murray straight up cheats on his wife. Like, he has sex with this lady, and we never see her again after that.
Yeah, but then Scarlett Johansson is like visibly has issue with him having sex with another woman.
Yeah, well, it's like her attention was taken away from. It was like that fantasy thing of like, oh, this guy's only focused on me right now. It's like, well, it was just taken away by somebody else. She felt like it was. Yeah. It's that feeling. It makes sense for that character.
It was her being irrational, I guess. They both are. They're both highly irrational people. I think that's why this bond was even sort of formed. But I guess I sort of, not that I think it should have happened, but I do sort of understand why, because it's just kind of like, I think in her mind it could be the tiniest thing of like, oh, you're a movie star and you're just putting this like wonderful Wizard of Oz performance on for anybody to charm them, and I'm not special. I'm just another in a long line of people that you have used for your personal amusement because you're bored and rich. Is sort of how I look at it, and it's just like, oh, you're not who I thought you were. You're just a womanizer, and he kind of is. But
one thing outside of the writing, I think that every shot says something. I know, Mark, it can be boring. It can definitely be boring, but I think that every shot has a story to say, and I like, or at least adds on to the.
I'm not saying each one. I know each one of the shots are intentional. I'm just saying that like it a lot of them drag on to a point where it feels like, okay, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And I feel like there was a way to compartmentalize this movie to where we have an interesting relationship, like an interesting dynamic between these characters, and it doesn't feel so slow paced, and it feels like stuff is happening, and like and more reasons for me to feel empathy for this character and be like, okay, I kind of see, like, I see what we were doing, where to a point where like I can see myself doing that.
Mr. Harris, Mr. Kazo sent me my stockings. Lip them.
What?
Hey, lip my stocking.
Lip them? What?
I just think like a lot of things in this movie don't work. My other thing is like, why does it have to be Japan? And it's really just Coppola being like, oh, I traveled to Tokyo for like my college education, and I just thought Japan is beautiful, so I wanted to like have a story set in Japan. And then she goes to Japan again, and she's like, I love Japan. But in your script, it doesn't feel like you love Japan. It feels like you're actually just being racist. Like, why are you having these jokes, like, with Bill Murray, and, like, you're making fun of the characters who can't pronounce, like, L's, dude? And then, not only that, but, like, it kind of feels like every other Japanese person that's in this movie is kind of like acting as a force to try and bring these two people together, and it doesn't work for me. I don't know. I really don't like that it's set in Japan.
I think that's very valid. I think
to me that's the stuff where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like the gag with the
talk show host.
What province? Oh yeah, the talk show host. They go to the talk show host or something, and when the masseuse comes, and she's like, lip my tights.
Oh yeah,
and Bill Murray's like, I don't know. I mean, I would say Bill Murray's funny in that scene, and the way he just does not want to have sex with this woman. He's like, okay. But like that part is just like, why is, and like it feels like it's so weird to me. It feels weird to me because like I think as Westerners, a lot of Westerners are accused, and probably rightly so, of fetishizing Japan. And I think just part of it is just because, and like this is not going to help my case, Japan is just one of the most beautiful photogenic countries in the world. Like the cities to the seas to the countryside. Right, like the nature, like everything,
the
like
mountain,
even
I
don't know what it is. Even boring Japanese suburbia, I'm like, there's a quaint charm to it. I don't know what it is, and maybe
there was that meme of Place Japan.
Yeah, Place Japan. Whoa, yeah, and it's like,
literally,
and yet. So for someone to, but like, this stands out to me because Japan is still very photogenic in this, but it presents it as such a sterile place, and that could have been something, because like that is something that I think what they're trying to get at is the fact that like Japan is, again, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not an expert on there, but Japan has sort of like been notorious for it being, especially over the past like couple decades, like a place that it is hard for people to form consistent bonds, that there's like a lot of isolation, it is easy to be lonely even as a resident in Japan, but I don't think it does a very good job of getting to that point. It's just like, I like Japan, so the movie takes place, but they don't ever use that. That's the only thing I can assume, because like this movie can't take place in like Chicago. I understand that it can't take place in like even like Germany, because there's still kind of an association. Like I hate to say it, but it has to be in a city where everybody looks different. Like, yeah. Just unfortunately, like it has to be that, because then the whole conceit of the thing falls apart. So it has to be somewhere. Okay, I like Japan, let's go to Japan. And it's like, on paper, Japan, there's a lot that you can farm from, because like culturally there's a lot that you can pull from, of just like Japan. People are isolated. It can be hard to form bonds from what I've heard, of people that live in very metropolitan areas of Japan. But they don't like, it just feels like you're supposed to know that, and never like, that's an actual like aspect of the culture that they are pulling and implementing into the themes in like a respectful and interesting way.
It's the thing of like, if you bring in a Japanese character to subvert the idea, like these are people. They're not just this vessel of culture, of being a culture that's different. I don't know if it would, the idea of the theme of this movie would really mesh. But it's also just like, it's also kind of like you sound like you're really disrespecting the culture when you do it. So it's like a hard. I don't know how you do it right.
Not that this needs to be a ensemble piece, but I think it does kind of speak to me that there's not really any Japanese characters in this movie. You know,
they're all background to the cult, to represent the culture.
I mean, I can't. There's like the talk show. Like none of them are really characters. We never learn about any of them. And I guess I understand why, because it's not really about those. But again, like a country that like is sort of known, and it comes through, I think, in their art, is known for. And I'm generalizing here, and I understand. I'm not claiming to be an expert on Japan, but from what I have learned about the culture, like there's sort of a loneliness epidemic. There's obviously one here too. I don't know, and I'm not saying that every single person in Japan has no friends, but like
they're all friendless chuds over there. I don't think that was ever a consideration based on how the characters are written. Even the ones that Japanese characters we spend time with, they never represent that. They're always the cultural. They're always cultural like parts, like stereotypes. I wish there were more moments where it was Bill Murray genuinely trying to deal with the language gap, like with that person in the hospital. Like that moment, I feel like there should have been kind of more of that.
I think Andromeda puts it very well. It feels like there's a disconnect, because I think the director really likes his country and this city, but the characters don't. And yet I think we're getting both, or we're infused, like both of those perspectives are being infused into the frame and diluting each other. So when I look at these, like, from a composition perspective, beautiful shots of the city, I don't always necessarily know how I'm supposed to feel.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, like that's the one thing I would say. Like, it has very good visual storytelling. I'll give it that, but it's just like
also the music. Music was great.
Yeah, I think they got nominated. I think the soundtrack was nominated for a few things.
It was so good how it was so cold and so beautiful at the same time, which represented the feeling of the characters in that in Japan. But I don't know if they ever thought it was beautiful. That's another thing.
Sure.
What are you doing?
My husband's a photographer, so he's here working. I wasn't doing anything, so I came along.
What do you do?
I'm not sure yet, actually.
Right,
not my cup of tea, but I mean,
would you recommend this movie?
probably not. But you know, everyone should have their own opinions on something. So if you're watching this, don't just listen to my word alone. I mean, go watch it for yourself. See if you like it, because maybe you get something out of it.
Listen to Marquise.
But I just not my thing. I wouldn't tell somebody to watch this.
If you want like a proper respectful representation of Japan, but also has the same theming of a cultural shock, watch Rental Family. If you're a filmmaker, you're more into like visuals. You are kind of struggling with visual cinematography, or if you just visual storytelling, if you just are interested at all, I'd recommend it. But mostly for somebody if somebody's not into movies, I wouldn't recommend it.
I don't think I would recommend this movie either. There are a lot of other really great movies based in Japan that you should watch instead. Things like Perfect Days are going to be really good. Perfect. Even if you're going to watch something older, like Seven Samurai, even if live action stuff isn't your thing, there's so much really good Japanese animation. Yeah, anything Ghibli, Akira, there's a plethora of really good movies that are going to do a better
Tokyo Godfathers.
Exactly.
Tokyo Godfathers.
I think I could only recommend, well, actually, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but the people who would recommend Lost in Translation are definitely going to be film bros that have this Western idea of Japan is really cool.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Taco no Tochi! Sushi! Taco no Tujin! Ah!
Me when I say, I don't even. Never mind. I'm not even going to attempt to speak Japanese live on here. Not even for a bit. I think this movie toes a line for me, and I agree with Andromeda. I would not, if you're looking for something for the culture aspect, I would not recommend this movie. I don't. The lens it takes to Japan is I think my biggest personal grievance with the movie. It feels, I don't entirely understand what it's trying to say about the culture, and I don't feel like it really ends up saying anything at all, which is like a waste, because I mean every culture is obviously fascinating, but it just feels like a backdrop rather than the subject of any sort of meaningful point. I think if you are interested in making movies, I think this is an interesting touchstone, because it is basically just a character study, and I think it can probably, I mean, I think even if you don't like it, I think it can inform a lot about what you want to do with characters. I think I would be hard pressed to criticize the actual performances. I think if you're just someone who's trying to do your research and you're like, I guess I gotta check off more of these things, but like for sort of external factors, like even just Sofia Coppola movies, I don't know if this would be the first one I'd recommend. I was reading an interview she did, and she was like, she showed it to her kids for the first time, and even they were like, why is she so young and why is he so old? And they were like interviewing her about it this year for the release, and she was like, Scarlett Johansson was like 17 when she made this. How did you settle on that? And she was like, yeah, I remember like I didn't even realize or something. I gotta find I hate to end on this, but I gotta find this quote. The character's supposed to be in her early 20s, and so Scarlett is younger than that character's supposed to be. I can't believe she was only 17. She seemed so mature. Also, her husky voice made her seem older. I just loved her from Manny and Lowe, and I think I was kind of thinking about Laura Bacall and Humphrey Bogart in the back of my mind. And I guess her voice reminded me of Lauren Bacall. I don't know if that's what she's claiming, but I remember the first time I read that, I was like, did she just not even realize how old Scarlett Johansson was?
She didn't look.
She didn't check. She was like, and you're hired. No, I know that's not what she's claiming, but the first time I read that, I was confused. I don't know. I think if you're an aspiring filmmaker who's doing their homework, you probably need to check it out. I would not recommend this to the vast majority of date night people, and I think, but I don't know. I want to end on a quote. Although I think my girlfriend and I actually had a pretty decent time watching it, to be honest. I want to end on a quote from Ben Groundwater, who did an article about the movie in 2023 on sort of circling around its 20th anniversary from, I guess this is the Sydney Morning Herald in the Traveler section, I suppose. And he ends his article by saying, I think, ironically enough, Scarlett Johansson's character was right. We probably shouldn't have come back here because it can never be as much fun.
You really are having a midlife crisis, huh?
Thank you all for joining us. I thank my panelists for taking the time to be here. I love you all, and good night.